Last time on Desperate Attune, Bidrohi was in jail, Saida was out cold, and Clem, Moss and Mushfiq were on the hunt for Gurban the camel, each with their own reason for finding him. Gurban was connected to Clem's rival Tamira. He was also connected to the people of Raqqa village and through them to the ancestor tree Moss had found in the flooded basement, and of course he knew Ustad Shahid's whereabouts. Their interests aligned with those of the Bone Shakers. A man by the name of Joskin had reneged on his debts to the Bone Shakers and had hidden among Gurban's camp in the desert. In return for retrieving the money, they offered a 50% cut and supplied the crew with Bahadur Badr's hang gliders to scout the desert from above. Having had no experience going out into the desert themselves, the crew got in touch with Kosha, a desert guide. Over tea, she told them that Gurban's camp was likely in amongst the ruins known as the Glass Bones, a collection of jagged spires formed when the star in the well first crashed into the city. She further told them that Gurban and his caravan should be fairly easy to find, since they always carry lanterns with them to ward off the giant spectral bats inhabiting the desert. In the dead of night, the crew scaled the outlook overlooking the city by Falcon's Reach, leapt off with their hang gliders, and caught the desert wind. Before long, they spotted the glow of lanterns reflecting off the obsidian columns. Like falcons, they swooped down, landing gracefully behind the spires. There they saw Gurban shepherding his caravan into a cave. While Moss slipped into the crowd, Clem and Mushfiq hatched a plan to win Gurban's trust by summoning the coast bats and then saving everyone by fighting them off. With a sharp crack reverberating off the spires, Clem shot Gurban's lantern to pieces. Steadfast, Gurban ushered the crowd into the cave and prepared for a fight. As the sound of screeching bats closed in, one of Gurban's men came out of the cave carrying a small ember, a piece of the star in the well. Thank you for listening to Desperate Attune. You can support us with a one-time donation at ko-fi.com/desperateattune or for $1 a month at patreon.com/desperateattune for access to bonus content such as XP, payoff, post-game banter, and a newsletter by our very own tree.
Uduasha City, where the sun is a mirror and the moon a shadow, where dancers cavort in forbidden operas, making love to forgetting and flaying, where the wealthy play at war with silver swords and silken sashes, where the people mine the dead heart of a burning star for cannonballs and pipework, and where 1,000 secrets hide in a forest of paper and ink. Here, the 5 keybearers reside, the 5 who know the secrets of the broken gates of death. 5. 5 only. There is no 6th spire, forlorn and forgotten in the desert. There is no one who looks to the displaced, the poor and destitute and landless, whose ancestry has been stripped from them by foreign looms and foreign sparkcraft, and no one has ever heard of the House of Ending. But this is their story. Their roots pulled up and burned, they stand in filth up to their necks. And that is precisely why they must keep their heads ever high. Welcome to Uduasha, immigrant. May it fear the name of the house you will build. Welcome to Desperate Attune, an actual play podcast about characters with their identities in peril, played by an international cast devoted to fiction-first gaming, collaborative world-building, and complex character drama. It's not so that you can carry it around because it's hot. It's still, I think, wedged into all of this metal and it's slowly going out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's there.
But very slowly over the course of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is, half-life of radioactive substances kind of thing.
Yes.
And they keep it covered to keep this place a secret, and now he's uncovering it. It's not a lot, but it is technically sunlight.
Amazing.
Yeah. What do you do as this is going on? Because there is absolutely a panic breaking out inside. The people who are less used to this obviously freak out, and this lieutenant is uncovering the bit of star.
Yeah, I was quickly considering, but I think I want to do something with what's he called, bird bones, and I think I'm just gonna try and talk to them, and I'm just gonna come up next to them and how are they responding actually? Are they panicking? Or
I
are
think-
they used to this kind of stuff?
I think they are definitely panicking because gunshots in the desert are unusual. So they're caught off guard by that. It's not just like the screeching of some horrible desert beast, which I think they would handle more coolly. But it's a moment of
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on and I hate it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna come up to them.
Hmm?
You're not a desert guide. You're a hunter. So who are you hunting?
Yeah. They turn back, looking at you, and you don't have a lot of time for conversation because you can already hear like the screeching in the sky here.
Mhm.
But I think they gripped. I had not planned for this person to be here, obviously.
Of
So
course.
let me
Yes.
think for a
Take
second.
your time.
Yeah, I have the answer. I think. So they grip the hammer, and they say, "Looking for a terrorist and a rebel. The old man knows something about it. Now you're here to help me out, or else." And they will ready the marble hammer. And I think, these are ghosts, so you can't just hit them with a hammer. But I think this person is prepared, being someone who does dare go out into the Deathlands.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think that they take out some part of a Ketrisi tree. We have seen Mushfiq use the bananas before as a powerful ancestral thing. I think this person is using sap, like the sap and the resin from the tree, which is very Dark Souls now that I say it. But yeah,
Yes.
rubs some sap onto the hammer so that it will have some effect against the ghost at least.
Yeah.
And then they rush outside to like defend the cave. Actually no, rushing outside doesn't make any sense. They stand where the sunlight can still like reach them with their back to it, like in the entrance to the cave, because the smart thing is to go inside the cave at this point.
Yeah, because ideally the bats will not come into the cave because there is sunlight there, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Mhm.
So I think I'm like, yeah. I think we're looking for the same persons. We're also looking for information. And I'm very much dropping that there is a we here. Yeah. And then I'll rush after them to their like holding the line position, taking out a gourd of fire oil.
Yeah.
Is there anybody outside the cave other than Gurban, Mushfiq, and Clem at this point?
I don't think so. I think it makes sense that Bird Bones like went inside, and I think the reason that Gurban, obviously the reason why Gurban is lingering is that Gurban is trying to save the camel. Like the Deathlands creatures are not always like smart in these situations, and he's trying to get the camel inside, not to just like leave it outside so it'll panic and run off. That's what's delaying him.
All right. I think actually I'll like shout like, Gurban, there's no time.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like an action.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a command or something, or a sway,
Probably
or
command.
have you?
Yeah, it's command because it's like quick action. I'm not good at that. I have 0 dice.
Yeah.
So I'm pushing.
Yeah, I think it's risky standard.
Would you like an assist?
I would love an assist.
Clem is going to slide down and go in. We've got this. We'll save you.
Okay, fantastic. That sounds like an assist for sure. It tips your hand a little bit, but absolutely. Okay, risky standard it is with a bonus dice from Moss. So Moss is now rolling a 2. And yeah, standard effect here is just getting Gurban to follow this entirely sensible advice, abandon his camel, and yeah.
Yeah, all right, let's go. That's a 5.
Okay. So the consequence here, I think, is so he is going to go inside, and the consequence is that he's going to go straight towards confronting Moss. Because he will realize, of course, as you shout this, that I don't recognize that voice. I don't know what's going on. And it's not like he's going to like hurt you necessarily or anything, but his plan is to like run inside and basically tackle you down so that he can, 1, get within range of the light and be somewhat safe, and 2,
Mhm.
figure out what the fuck is going on. So unless you resist it, he is going to be on top of you.
I won't resist it. I actually want some on top of him.
Yeah, excellent. So he knocks Moss backwards, and you come to realize that unlike his like wiry friend Birdbones, he is a pretty heavy guy.
Yeah.
And we'll cut back to that because Clem is sliding down the rock face outside. Or do you have something to say to him first?
No, I think I'm very curious at what he'll say once we cut back.
Cool.
But I do have a plan.
Yep. And Clem, you are sliding down, and yeah, you said you wanted a moment before the bat things arrive, and I think they're arriving. So the situation will be, Mushfiq, are you sliding down with Clem, or are you still in an elevated position, you think?
No, I think I'm gonna get down.
Yeah. So both of you glide down, you're heading towards the cave entrance, and the bats will be there before you are. This is not a consequence, I think this is just established from the fiction. You didn't want there to be long enough time for you to run all the way to the cave, and so as you reach the ground, still have like some tens of meters, 20 perhaps, to the cave entrance, the things sweep down from above, and you can see them thanks to Mushfiq's lamp. And they are not altogether unlike bats. They are ghosts, so they are white against the black night sky, and glow with this like eerie electroplasmic light. And they have wings that sort of resemble bats. They also have what appear to be human hands, and altogether too many of them, reaching out in some sort of clawing, chaotic mass. And they must have mouths, because you can hear them scream. And 2 of these horrific beast things are sweeping down towards anything outside the cave, which means you. What do you do?
Just think. So, I mean, now I do have my rather silly way of defending myself against things like this.
Yeah, you are armed. You are armed with Ketrisi bananas, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so we're running towards the cave entrance, and you know what? Let's just go for it. So I'm gonna chuck one of these like a boomerang, and you know.
Yep. They are bananas from a Ketrisi ancestor tree. They have ghost power in them. You throw a banana like a boomerang at one of the ghosts. Absolutely. So, okay, I will give you a choice here. If you want to resist the supernatural terror that ghosts inflict, because you don't have anything special that defends you against the supernatural terror that ghosts inflict, so you can resist that first if you want, and then you'll be at risky standard, because then you're confronting
would the tiger spirit mask not help?
Ah, yes, the tiger spirit mask. Yes, that does help. Okay, sorted.
Yeah, that working that. Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Then I think this is it's still desperate, because these are scary ass things, but it has standard effect, and the standard effect here is that you can hit it with a banana and like hurt it. You won't kill it.
Right.
But these are ghosts. They don't expect to experience pain, so it'll surprise it.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this is, what is this? Finesse, I guess.
I mean, it could be skirmish, assault, or hold a position.
Yeah,
skirmish. Desperate standard. I mean, let's just see it. What's the worst that can happen? It's a 3-1. That's what it is.
Okay. So you throw the banana in its direction, and like the banana hits it, and we see these like ghostly, almost like kudzu vines burst out from the banana as the ancestor tree fights back by like the roots that connect the banana trees together, briefly spread over one arm. And like this, it sort of works, right? It just doesn't slow the thing enough because it's too big.
Right.
So like against a human-sized ghost, this would have worked perfectly, and it would have been overwhelmed by the power of the ancestor trees. This thing horrifically just plows right through it. And the desperate consequence here is, I think it's just fear. I think it's a, unless you resist it, a terror that overcomes you with a level 3, like temporary harm, but just blind panic.
And if I resisted it, what would that get it down to?
it would get it down to a level 2, which is like, supernatural, like psychic damage of some kind.
I guess I would like to keep my wits about me, so I guess I'm resisting with resolve then, right? Because yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Right. Okay, it's not too bad. That's 5, so I just take 1 stress.
Yeah. And I think what happens then is that the screech like rattles through you and shakes you to your core. And so it's a level 2 harm, probably something like weakened. Yep.
Or I don't know, like maybe just rattled. Like
Yeah, rattled.
Yeah.
Something like that will work. And what about Clem? Because there's a second one of these.
Yes, there is a second one of these.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a gun. And guns make light. Guns make light and noise. So I think as this happens, they turn to Mushfiq and go, get the camel in. I'll hold them off. You got this. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mushfiq's already just running away, even as you say this, like, oh shit.
Backing away, yeah, because part of it is you also fail, so you don't get any closer to the cave, right? It's So yeah, the thing is momentarily delayed by the banana, and I think this is a thing that Clem would see too, and is kind of impressive the way that he threw a fruit at it and it worked, kind of, but unfortunately not long enough.
They say that time flies like a banana. Let's fucking go. Let's make less of it. And I'm going to advance on the position with my fine shield out and firing my pistol at them to drive them off. At least as fast, as quickly as possible, yeah.
Yeah, so you're relying on the heat and light here, but there isn't a lot of it from a pistol, so I think you have limited effect. So it's desperate limited. It can work. This is a thing that absolutely like frightens them, but it'll only win you a little time. It won't get them to like seriously back off.
I think a little time is what we need right now, though.
Yeah. Okay. Desperate limited, and I think basically this will give Mushfiq time enough to act again. So.
Yeah. And I'm going to use traumatic flashbacks to roll 2 dice, and I'll use my skirmish because I think this is assaulting a position, isn't it? I'm going to just give myself a bonus die on that.
Perfect.
And I think this looks a little bit like in her mind when she had to do something similar way back when in the desert to try and hold something off for desperate limited. Fantastic.
Ooh.
No.
Okay, things are not going well. So yeah, they have already instilled this kind of like panic, and it's my turn to ask you, Clem. Actually, do you have any defense against the supernatural terrors of ghosts?
No, just a rage essence vial that I may not should have taken before this.
Okay.
Just being really fucking angry.
Yes, then there are 2 consequences for you. One of them is either you take this rage essence vial or you panic, because that's just an effect of this being supernaturally terrifying and you are advancing on it. So that's one consequence. The other consequence is a physical injury. So you've actually got 2 things going on here, but I'm hitting hard. These are scary ass fucking ghosts. They're enough to freak out Gerben. So you are looking at first completely losing your wits one way or the other, and second a level 2 harm, and it will pin you down. I think it just leaps up on top of you, grabs you with one of its hands, and bites you somehow. Apparently its hands have teeth.
That's cool. So, that's fine.
Yeah, so 3 separate consequences. Losing your wits, level 2 harm, and being pinned.
I'm going to take my rage essence vial. I'm also going to mark off armor to reduce that to a level 1 harm. But I'm not going to reduce being pinned, because if it's pinned, that's right where I want it. If I'm pinned, that's right where I want it.
Okay, so you drink the rage essence vial, advance shooting. It flies onto you, climbs up onto the shield probably, and knocks you down. Somehow it has weight. And then, its hand mouths bite you. And we've gone with leech imagery before, so I guess these things have lamprey mouths on their hands. Just normal things to have.
What are we going to call this harm?
Since it's a level 1, I think Yeah, where would it be? Probably like shoulder, so like stung shoulder, I guess.
Cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So yeah, Mushfiq, you are dealing with one of them. Clem is dealing with another one, pretty badly though. I think this is actually the moment to cut back to Moss and Gerben,
Mhm.
and also Bird Bones is here, who might help with this. Unclear. So as this awfulness is going on outside, Gerben, having pinned down Moss, scowls and says, "Listen here, I don't appreciate people interfering with my business. I don't know whether you drew these things through inexperience or what. Why the hell are you here?"
So indignant. And she smirks a little bit.
Mm.
So sure you've got the upper hand.
You listen here, this is my cave. I don't appreciate you butting in on my business.
Yeah, you've got a cave and a little sun, miniature sun and everything. Impressive. And then she shifts a little. And I want her... So I want to... Flashback. Acquire an asset.
Yeah.
Some sort of like shady dealing under a bridge somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, yeah, with people who don't look like they belong in Uduasha at all, dressed like too darkly somehow. And they have met Moss here to sell her an Akarosi spirit bottle. Filled.
Oh, a filled spirit bottle. Interesting. Yeah, spend a coin and roll tier,
Mhm.
and then we'll see if you need to spend more for this.
Yes. Tier is 1, right?
Mm-hmm. So spend a coin, roll 1 dice.
Die rolled, that's a 3.
Okay, so you will need to spend 2 more coin to achieve this. It turns
Mhm.
out.
I will.
You can spend some stash you have. So.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you have a filled spirit bottle, and as this guy is threatening you, and I was about to say he is probably about to like try to knock you out as you go. Yeah, yes, I'm here to steal your sun cave. At least that's basically what he hears.
Mhm.
But you do something, I presume, with this bottle.
Yeah, she shifts and she like shows that she has the bottle and she has her like finger on the release button. You think it's enough to hold this thing back?
Okay. Yeah, this is an action. It's command. I think it's I think it's desperate because you're pinned underneath a violent man. No
Yeah.
two ways around it. But it is. Yeah, let's just call this desperate great, because this seems like it would work.
So again, 0 dice of command. Pushing myself for 1 die.
Yeah, I can maybe offer you a devil's bargain. Actually, yeah. There's an obvious devil's bargain, which is
that one's instead, right?
Yeah, it's instead.
Yeah.
So it's not on top, but instead of spending 2 stress. But there is an obvious devil's bargain here, which is that Bird Bones loses respect for you, because who the fuck brings a ghost on a trip into the Deathlands? It's just,
Yeah.
Bird Bones will think of you as hopelessly reckless.
This is where they work, but yeah, I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
We can disagree on this part.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think there's room for an assist, considering that the other 2 are super tied up, unless you guys have a great idea. So I'll just go with 1 die.
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 1.
Oh. Okay. So I will let you decide here. Do you release the ghost or not? Because I think what happens here is that he is going to punch you in the face to try and stop you, and you have a brief opportunity to release the ghost and avoid the punch in the face, but completely lose control of the situation. So which is it?
Yeah, I think most panic releases the ghost.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So this is an Akarosi ghost. Who knows how the hell it got to Rasha? This has been smuggled through some sources and whatnot. And yeah, it's a desperate consequence. It turns out you have been shafted by the people who sold you this thing. This was a bad idea. Because, and this will be familiar to fans of Blades in the Dark, they sold you Nyrix.
No!
No.
And so we see Gerben suddenly shift his eyes light up, and he is 100% ghost possessed now. Just absolutely taken over by the spirit inside him. A broad grin and a cackle comes over him, and his voice completely changes. He like staggers back from you and goes, "Oh, this is great. This is fantastic." And so yeah, the desperate consequence here is Gerban is now ghost possessed by an extremely resilient ghost.
But he's off me now, right?
Yes, I think it makes sense that he pulled back a little bit because, ghost possessed, borderline superpowers. It's taking lyrics a moment to take in their new body.
Yeah, I think like Moss will like scramble to her feet, leaning on her staff, call back into the kind of whisper like shit, call back into the cave. I don't suppose there's any whispers in here.
Okay. I don't know if there are any whispers in here, but it would make sense to have at least one when you go into the Deathlands. So, yeah, okay, I can make this make sense actually. So there is a whisper here, indeed, and I think the logical connection here is that this is probably a whisper of the Roka people, the very people you are looking for.
Oh, very cool.
Because we know Gerban helped smuggle them. And we also know that they have like an unusually strong tie to the ancestor tree, so they probably produce like a great amount of whispers. So you see someone with the distinctive features of this little village clan. It's a young woman huddling in the back of the cave who like looks up. But the thing is, she is pulling close to the light. And the reason for this is even if you're a whisper, it makes sense to be around the thing that like prevents ghostliness. But she looks up and goes, "Yes."
Then it's you and me both, if you're up for it. I don't think we have any other choice at this point. And Moss will take her staff. And this is, I think, maybe where we'll like realize that it has never been relevant up until this point.
Yeah.
Because Moss was in the city the whole time, but she's also kind of a whisper. And maybe it can be like visual because Moss and this woman in the back, they have the same kind of staff.
Ah, yes, of course. So yes, she also has one of these staffs carved out of the dead wood of the ancestor trees. And inscribed with the names of the ghosts that dwell therein. Yeah. Excellent. Cool. I don't think there's a role to engage her. I like this idea too much, but we'll cut back outside.
Yes.
So, you have a fellow whisper, you have a ghost-possessed Gerban, and outside, Mushfiq. Clem is pinned down by one of the ghosts. The other one is like disentangling itself from your banana roots.
Okay, I probably should have done this before because I do have an ability that would help. I'm a Ghost Fighter.
Yes.
So, yeah, I may imbue my hands, melee weapons, or tools with spirit energy. And I said that, like, when I got this ability, I said it would be the Mushfiq's prosthetic, which I think sort of like its inspiration, like in Sekiro, where he has a little kind of flamethrower attachment. It's a bit like that, but with spirit energy.
Okay. So you have a small, like, electroplasmic arc welder, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. And I think Mushfiq, like, he's backed off a bit, right? But he sees Clem's in danger, and so is he, and he sort of just, like, thumps us just a bit to pump him up, like, okay, all right, I can do, and sort of waits, sort of, I guess, baits the one that was coming after him, the bat, to get closer. And just as it does, just blast this thing with, electroplasm.
Excellent. Yeah, very cool. It's up to you what sort of action it is. It is, I think we still must call it desperate, just because these things are scary,
Of course.
even for experienced people. But standard effect, and I think in standard effect in this case is not just scaring it, but actually hurting it. Either way, you get it off your back.
I guess this is still. I mean, I'm still fighting in close combat, aren't I?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Okay. I'll do skirmish again, and I forget. I can push myself for effect as well, right?
You get
Or
the push yourself for free when you push yourself ability. So you also get either effect or a die. Like when you activate this ability, if I don't misremember.
No, you don't need to.
because
You don't need to push yourself for Ghost Fighter. It just
okay.
happens.
It just happens. Oh, okay, I see. Then
But
yes.
you do have between heartbeats, right? That'd be really cool.
that would be pretty cool. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I figured between heartbeats was more for like corporeal enemies, and yeah.
Yeah, but you can use it now. You made it corporeal because you have the ability to punch with electroplasm. So
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
yeah. So you
All
can
right.
deliver a blow of superhuman accuracy and speed if you want. Yes.
In fact, yeah, let's do that. So what I'm going to
Yeah.
do is instead of blasting it with the with electroplasm, I'll I'll punch it with electroplasm.
Yeah, very cool
Yeah.
with your prosthetic. All right, so then you get
Yeah.
both a bonus die and great effect because it's a super cool blow. So it's desperate, great, one bonus die, and great effect here means I guess you kill this thing. So
Also, because I had but is it? I still have I have -1. I had a level 2 harm.
yeah,
And I have Survivor, which takes no, sorry, I have Tough as Nails, which takes it to a level 1 harm, which means I get less effect, so that takes it back to standard.
yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Okay, so after all that, we are a desperate standard, but I have a bonus set.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's 4, 1, and 3. All right.
Okay.
Where's
So-
the sixes when you need them?
So with standard effect, you hurt this thing and get it to fall back. So you deliver a punch to it, it staggers backwards. It is like hit with raw electroplasmic energy. The previous thing was, your ancestral magic. This is Miraz designed this thing, right? So this is just Akorosi Sparkcraft delivered straight to its face. So yeah, it staggers backwards. It like screeches and screams, and then your prosthetic short circuits and explodes.
No, I'll resist.
You can resist it, but
Of course.
that's the desperate consequence.
I'm going to resist this with. I mean, this is an injury, right? So prowess.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. So that's 2 stress.
Okay, so one function in your prosthetic, and you can decide which one. It need not be the electroplasm, but one function is broken, and you will need to repair it. It's like a 4 o'clock to repair it. So I like the hook shot or the electroplasmic punching or something. You can decide.
Hook shot is probably the less important one, I think, right now.
Yep. All right. So it's a 4 o'clock to repair it, and it's busted.
Okay.
There's just an electroplasmic overload, something in there, jams or melt or whatever.
Could just be simply the impact of the punch that just jams the.
Yeah, that makes sense actually. So there is this tremendous flash as this thing is hurled backwards and like crawls away, overcome with fear and pain and surging with electroplasm. And yeah, let's see what Clem is doing meanwhile. This thing has been bowled over, and Clem has uncontrollable rage, is on the ground, and is about to be hand-eaten by one of them.
Of course.
Yes.
So my strength resistance to pain and irrational aggression has been greatly enhanced. I'm going to overwhelm it with the absolute force of my rage by trying to attune there. Because I'm grabbing it by its hands. Just goes.
You're just trying to channel your rage into it.
Yeah, make it submit.
Amazing. Mm-hmm.
I want to make it submit to me. Yeah,
yep.
I am the alpha bitch. I don't think bats work on that. But these aren't normal bats. So
okay, so because you have taken the rage essence, I think you have standard effect. Without the rage essence, this would probably only limited work. But yeah. It's fair to say that this improves your effect. It is, however, desperate still, and the main reason it's desperate is that you're trying to link your mind to some indescribably ancient thing. So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Easy. That's.
Mhm.
I don't see that there's issues with that, right?
Mhm.
Nothing bad can come out of this.
Yep. Yep.
I'm looking through my items. What can help me here?
Mhm.
No, I'm going to push myself twice and trauma out. One for effect to make this great,
Mhm.
and the other one to get myself an extra die here.
Okay. Desperate, great. Overwhelm it with rage, bonus dice, and you're trauming out. Lovely.
Yeah, so this better fucking work. Desperate, great. Does anyone want to assist me here, please? Please, God. I think I'd like
Yes,
to
of course.
Yeah, Mushfiq can actually.
I
So,
can,
yeah.
and I think this is gonna be that when Mushfiq empowered his prosthetic and punched the bat in the face, like just a flash of like plasma arcing, that would have distracted or like kind of
Yeah.
rattled the other one a little bit.
Makes sense. Yeah. So spend the stress for that.
Yes.
There you go.
Thanks, boss.
Let's see.
2 bonus die. That's a 6. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell fucking yeah.
Lovely. Yes. So you attune to this thing's mind and force it backwards out of like. The thing here is, it is indescribable and eldritch to you, but I think what we learn here is that the same is true in reverse, and you are just like a completely freaky alien entity to it. And so, for a moment, some of its intelligence it had when it was alive, like flashes back in its mind, and it recoils in horror, and is thrown backwards. And you got a great effect here, so I think it actually flees.
Is there any way that I can't really push myself again or do it, but I was hoping great effect. Could I have 2 ticks on my pet clock, please? Instead,
Yes.
I want it to stick around. I want to be besties.
Okay, you want to tame this thing? All right, you're trauming out, right? I think what happens. What happens in that case is it like tries to pull away and you hang on to it because you have rage essence. So the reason you trauma out is that you're being dragged away by it, like riding it in effect as you.
So, can I act again because I can grapple with spirits to restrain and capture them?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I think you can hold Clem down in this situation.
Yeah, or try to hold the bat down.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I'll run up to the spirit bat, like jump on its back, and then try to put it in like a what do you call it, like a
hitbox,
a sleeper hold.
Yes, lovely.
Yeah.
All right, sure. So this is no longer desperate because it's trying to flee. So even though it's incredibly dangerous, it's just risky. So risky standard, I guess. And I think that's after applying your wound. It would be risky great if not for your injury. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's. It's all right. Okay. Roll and wrestle. I still want to turn this into desperate. Great.
You
and
can.
I will.
Okay. Absolutely. Okay. If there is a consequence here, it will affect you both, and Clem won't be able to resist it. But I will allow Mushfiq to protect Clem instead. If you want.
Right. I love the idea of capturing Deathland's bat. So
yeah.
Come on, let's see it. Yes, it's a 6.
Yes.
It's a 6. Okay.
You said the 6s would come.
Yes. Okay, you hurl yourself upon the creature and wrestle it to the ground. And I guess, Clem, this finishes your Deathland's pet clock, right? Yes. Yeah. So I think this horrible, twisted, many-handed, bat-winged abomination, the reason you can have it as a pet is that you have attuned to it and somehow grounded it, like given it enough life energy that you have halfway dragged it back to life. And so this is no longer technically a ghost, so it can survive within Uduasha. It's something else. So cool. You now have the ghost pet ability in this fucking thing.
This fucking thing.
Yes.
I'm going to find a name for it. I'm going to name it.
Excellent. Meanwhile,
fantastic.
In the cave, Moss and Moss and your new friend, you are advancing on Gerban, who's about to run outside, I think, because fuck it, I'm a ghost. I'm not scared.
All right. I think so. I need a moment to like level with this Roka whisper, right? So I'm gonna like whisper, look to her and say, "I'm going to speak an ultimatum. Do you have my back?"
You're saying this in Ketrisi, I guess. So
I think so. Yeah.
yeah. So she just says, "I will, cousin."
Thank you. My name is Moss.
Yeah. Do the Rocka also have names like yours? No, we established that was more of a desert walker
Yeah, probably.
thing. Yeah. So yeah, she. Hold on. Let me give her a name.
Mm-hmm.
She nods. She says, "I'm Banu."
She puts a hand on her shoulder. Pleased to meet you, Banu. May it be a meeting that lasts. And then she turns and says to Gorban or to Nerix, whose name she does not yet know.
Yeah.
I am moss on the rung that breaks your ankle. Spirit, you have trespassed in this place, which falls under the light of the sun, which belongs to the living, and you have taken the body of one of our own. Twice you have trespassed, and thus, before you are released, thus twice shall be your penance, or twofold shall be your penance. And then she steps forward and places the tip of her staff over on the heart of Gerban. And I'm going to try and compel.
Okay.
So using do
you have the compel ability?
I just took the compel special ability.
Oh, incredible. Okay, you can attune to force a ghost to appear. I guess that means you can force it out of Gerban, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you have excellent. You have license to do this.
Yeah, and actually what I want to do is force it to tell me some stuff that Gerban would know, and then leave.
Makes sense.
That would be the ultimate outcome. But I have one die in Attune.
Yep.
Because Moss is not an incredibly powerful whisper.
So, because you are still like in the vicinity of the sunlight and you have assistance, I'm going to call this by default risky standard, but you can very easily trade it up to desperate great if you want to.
What would great effect give me over standard effect?
So standard effect will let you compel this ghost to tell you what it knows and knock it outside of Gerban. With great effect, I think you can basically banish it from the cave altogether. Like with standard effect, it won't stop being a problem. It'll just let go of its current host.
In that case, desperate great it is. Does wait, I already forgot her name. Bana?
Banu.
Other way around. Does Banu is she able to help me or assist me in any way?
I think she is, yes. And this is why you were at risky standard, because there were 2 against 1. Like Nyrix is more powerful than you, but this is why I sort of didn't start you off on desperate, because there are 2 of you. So you have scale.
Scale, cool. So then I'll push myself for a die. 2 dice, I think that's also kind of it that we can get to here. So desperate grade 2 dice Attune.
Yeah. The signature move of the podcast, desperate Attune, and it's a 6.
Desperate Attune, and it's a 6.
Oh, there's so many bad things could happen here, but you press your staff into its chest, and Nyrix, who is a very powerful possessor ghost from Duskfall, is stunned and surprised to find that, I mean, this is not something it's ever encountered, right? This is Ketrisi magic from half a world away. And so I think the reason why it will tell you things is Nyrix is afraid. And it says in this like suddenly morose voice, or suddenly frightened voice, like, let me go into the blackness outside. Let me find someone else somewhere, and I'll give you what you want. I'll let this one go. Yes?
That, and you'll answer my question. This man, whose body you have taken, he has the answers I need. Instead, you'll tell me what this man knows about people, look just like her, and she points at the other whisper. The Roka, they are called. They live in Uruasha. If you have his mind, you understand this. One of them was killed at a construction site, buried in a tree. Those are people I need to find.
Yeah.
I hope for both our sakes that you know where.
Yeah. Absolutely. So there is a moment of like Gerben's eyes flickering. And did we establish where the Roka were staying? I don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
No. And it is probably not Bundervest, or you would have found them like pretty easily. So I think the other logical place for the majority of them to be is, yeah, it's probably the Hand, the mining district, because it's another place that accepts the poor. So he, there is this like shaking and flickering, and then they went into mining and construction. This man, he deliberately split them up, made it so they can't find each other. This one, she's from the mining side. She's looking for them too. Construction workers, Chainbreaker University. They do menial labor for Chainbreaker.
Okay, excellent. That's Emma saying this. Are there still any bats a problem? No, right?
No, one of them is being wrestled by Clem and Mushfiq outside.
Yeah, but they've got that. So I'm like, there's nothing else we need from her now. So I think Moss will say, that is the first half of your atonement. Then shall you now go out into the black and bother us no further? Then so be it, and be gone.
So you
and
press
she'll
your
give
stab.
like another push. Yeah.
Yeah. And there is this like shove backwards. I think Gerben collapses because being ghost possessed is still like exhausting, potentially fatal, like really dangerous. So, he has not had a good time. He collapses backwards, very weak, possibly unconscious, and we see Nyrix fly out of the opening over the heads of Mushfiq and Clem, and towards the only other thing around that one can possess, the camel. And so the spirit flies into this huge camel, which then stampedes off into the distance, and Nyrix is now a haunted camel somewhere out in the dunes.
Great. Wonderful.
Fantastic.
So Gerben has lost his prize camel, but he has, not lost his life, which is the risk of long-term possession by something like this. And so, yeah, I guess we see outside how Mushfiq manages to wrestle this thing down and dig Clem out from underneath it. And Clem is, let's not have this be like out of the action completely from trauma, but let us rather frame it as you were having an extreme hangover from your rage essence, right? So you can still like participate in the scene, but you were too fucked up to take any actions for a little while.
Yeah. She's just kind of like, shit, man. Oh my god. That. Don't do that again. That. We need to stop egging each other on. Kind of like slaps him on the chest. Proper like soldier buddies. Arm over the shoulder.
And I think Mushfiq just goes, I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. This one perfectly.
Lovely.
You're shaky like a leaf, Mushfiq. It's a good thing Vidra he's not here. I'll tell him about how brave you were.
No, anything but don't do that. No.
Shuri Katab, the great ghost wrestler.
Oh God. And I think I think Mushfiq probably did put on a bit of like false bravado, like wrestling this thing down for a bit. But I think as the adrenaline kind of leaves, right? Because it is sort of over now, right? Like there's no immediate danger as far as we can tell.
Yeah, there is still
Yeah.
this creature which is rolling around on the ground. And tell me, Clem, are you picking mind link with this so that you can communicate with it?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Course.
I needed to know that because I needed to know if it will have a voice or not, but then it will.
I think mind link makes the most sense here. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So as this is shoved away, this still like pretty horrible thing that is now somehow more solid. It communicates telepathically with Clem. So Mushfiq doesn't necessarily hear this, but it like raises itself up, and you hear this voice in your head in like a dead language that you can't possibly understand, and yet you do. And it says, "We remember long journeys across lonely sands. We are alike."
I suppose, yeah, we are. Are we not hostile anymore? You get me? Allies? What do I call you? Do you have a name?
We get
Do
you.
you want one?
Name. I don't recall. How strange.
Do you need one?
There is a long pause, and then it says, "I think once upon a time they called me Professor."
Professor.
You can give it some other name if you want,
Yeah.
but it seems surprisingly erudite. So
And it's still a bat, like in the shape of a bat.
yes,
perfect.
Yeah.
I
Far
mean,
be it from me to give you a new name.
Yeah. The city's gone now. We had one once. I think we called it Ipri.
Place I'm from is gone too. I'm going to try and get it back. However I fucking can. We together in this, Professor.
Yes. It ambles over to you on its way too many hands, and yeah, what you're realizing here is that this has been way too messed up by the ages and the Deathlands and whatever horrific mutations go on out here, but it was at some point maybe human, and that's probably horrifying enough.
I mean, yeah, as the rage essence is wearing off, I think Clem is shaking in their boots a little bit here. Like, definitely terrified of this, but he's going to power through it and take like one arm around Mushfiq and take one of its hands.
Yeah, and your horrific mutant ghost pet takes your hand and comes closer to you, and yeah, it takes your hand and joins you in this quest to restore what was lost. Probably there is no hope for it, but there may be for you. So,
and I'm going to finish that off by saying I take the haunted trauma.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Everyone in this campaign seems to have some sort of weird visions or other, so I guess now you'll be dreaming of a dead city. It's fun times.
Excellent. That's what I want to hear. I love weird dreams.
Well, lovely. So,
yeah,
as you say this, a ghost-possessed camel stampedes off into the background and disappears. And yeah, Gerben is passed out inside his cave, and everyone else pretty much is huddled up by the fire, which the two of you can now see as well. This like absolute miracle, a flame out here in the dark.
Mouse will like As soon as Gerban collapses and Nerix flies off, she'll have like a short moment with Banu. It's like, I don't think I could have done that alone. I'm so sorry, she was much more powerful than I imagined.
You took a foolish risk, but then she takes a moment to like look at you and like think back on your accent, and then she says, "But that is all very Katam. I'm right? No?"
I'm not sure I would describe it that way, but I can see why you say that. Did you hear what she said? About him? About
Yes.
splitting you up? I assume he's taking you into the city.
Yeah. He is. He promised he would take me to family, but I'm guessing now he probably would have deceived me. There were some souls that were lost. We are trying to get them back.
Lost here in the desert? Or in the city itself?
I thought the desert, but it seems Uduasha is hungrier still than the sands.
You've been following him up until now, but if you wish it, I and my comrades outside, we can be guides too. You might be in a better position to start searching.
I would much prefer it, especially if you know where this chain breaker is, for I don't.
I think so. I have to check on them. I have to see if they're all right. And most will like hurry out to to Clem and Mushfiq.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, you dealt with them cleanly enough? Are you hurt?
Just shaken. Are you hurt?
Just shaken.
Right. Not stirred. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't
Think
think
you're
you're
rubbing
actually.
off on me.
Yeah, you're not that far from Uduasha. So as you step outside, I think you can still like see the city on the horizon. Because again, it's like now that you know the full story, right? The guy must have left some time ago, but the plan was clearly to use this smuggler's hideout for like some time. So, and it's quite near Uduasha, so I think this is in fact like a claim. It is a Deathlands gate. It's safe passage into the Deathlands. Like now you know about this place and that there is fire here. It's quite easy to arrange an expedition here and back. Like I'm not saying
Yeah.
you claimed it. Gerban still owns it, but he's unconscious at the moment. So
Yeah.
I'll look at. I'm curious where is Bird Bones?
yeah. So Bird Bones is by the fire, having returned to it, which was unveiled by one of the lieutenants, and is looking over at you with like there was a breaking of trust here because Bird Bones knew about this sacred place, which it is. You know, it may be a smuggler's cave, but it's also a holy place of sorts, and they know you brought a ghost in here, and that's just not okay. So. Bird Bones is not talking to you at the moment.
Aww.
I think I'll try anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Just like walk into the cave a little. Well, your quarry is down for the count. And I think we might all need to leave. So what are you doing?
My quarry still has people here. Birdbones gestures towards like Gerban's gang of smugglers who are, you know, not entirely sure what went down. Probably hesitating. What do you intend to do with the man?
The kind thing would be to take him back to the city. But I don't think we have... I think we have too much on our plate for kindness. The less kind thing, then, would be to leave him here with enough water, food, and light to reach it on his own.
I'm sure he's
And maybe-
wanted for. Well, actually, he goes like he's wanted for plenty of things back in the city.
I don't think we want him. She looks at the other two, at Mushfiq and Clem.
We need
Mushfiq
him.
wants him.
Yeah, of course. You want to take him back then?
Mushfiq.
Sorry, sorry, Moss is addressing Mushfiq?
Yeah, she's addressing Mushfiq like, do you want to take him back, or do you want to do whatever you plan to do here?
I think, well, we should take him back, I think. I think Mushfiq's had enough of the desert for now.
Fair.
So he had his cool prize camel that ran off, but I did mention there were camels plural. The other ones are just like less impressive. So I guess you could just hoist him up on one of those. Mm-hmm. So how this is going to work, I think, is if you don't take any further action and just take him back here, just because we're getting to the end of the score, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's still the guy that owed the Bone Shakers money, so you should probably deal with that. If you just want to leave the rest of Gurban's smugglers, then I don't think you're getting this claim, because then his second in command or whatever would take it over. So there is still potentially work to do. You're just highlighting like the goals of the score here. Like you have Gurban, you don't have the guy who owned money, although it's pretty trivial to find him, Joskin. And you also don't necessarily have control of this cave, although you are in a position to possibly seize it. If you want to keep it for yourselves.
Shall we go for broke?
Yeah, might as well.
Does it make more sense? Does it make sense for us to, I guess... Well, I guess it doesn't really matter, because, like, we could say there'd be claim in the sense that we keep Gurban smugglers here, but we sort of become their new boss.
Yeah. Obviously, that's a possible route, but it would require some sort of action, right? You have done nothing to persuade them to be the new boss yet. Yeah.
I mean, show of force. Wake Gurban up, get what we need out of him.
Yep.
Drag Joskin back. We're bravos after all, right?
Yep.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I don't know how much use we'll have for this place. Like, like how frequently, so maybe it makes more sense to sort of have some kind of,
deal with the smugglers.
Deal with them, rather than just take it over.
Yeah, that makes sense too. We could reframe it as a money-making claim or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they did throw him into the desert when it was done.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they did.
Yes.
It's at least they owe us.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, sorry, just wanted to step out of the action there to clarify a little bit what your goals are, so that we're on the same page. So, there is obviously like a huddled mass of people that this guy was trying to smuggle as well. So there is a small gang of smugglers, and then there is, the people who were for whatever reason trying to leave Uduasha in this batch, which is not just Joskin. It's a gaggle of people. And so, what do you do?
I mean, none of the other people who are trying to leave are of any interest to us.
No, except for the guy who owes the Bone Shakers money. The rest of them can leave if they want.
He went off.
Yeah,
go back to
we haven't even seen him because he's just part of like the masses of refugees. Like you haven't bothered to pick him out of the crowd yet. I suppose you can at this point. Yeah. So let's not overcomplicate that. If you look over at the people who are hiding by the fire, there's a Severosi guy, so that's probably him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Mushfiq goes, Joskin, I see you back there. Yeah, no, stop trying to hide. Come out.
Yeah. He steps forth, and now I've already forgotten what we established about him. Yeah, he was like an adventurer, but not used to the desert. So I guess he walks out with a pirate-like swagger. And he goes, all right, you got me.
So, let's. I think we can negotiate with this guy a little bit. He's not. So it was 8 coin that he owes to the Bone Shakers, yeah?
Yeah, he owes the Bone Shakers 8 coin, and this is pretty much like what they estimate is the cash he has on him. So.
Oh, he doesn't have anything more than that?
Probably not. Like the way they specified it was he actually owes us more, but we think 8 coin is what we can get out of him if we turn him upside down and shake out his pockets. So possibly he has more that they don't know about. That's a possibility, but yeah. That was sort of the setup here.
All right, then I'm going to turn him upside down and shake out his pockets
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
and see what comes out.
Is this an action? I mean, he is pretty much pressed backwards, but then again, he really wants this money. So yeah, I think you'll have to do something to like rustle it out of him. Possibly wrestle
I
him
think.
down.
Okay, let's start with this. I'm going to ask him for, like, come on, hand it over, the 8 coin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And will he just do that without putting up a fight?
I think there's some sort of roll here. Like, no matter how you want to go about it, let's roll to see if you succeed. But and I will call it a controlled position with standard effect. Like, it can fail. It's very likely that he will succeed because he has his back to the wall. But I think a roll is still interesting because it says something if you fail here. Maybe he's tougher than I give him credit for.
I'm trying to sway him, essentially. I'm basically saying that, all right, give it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair enough. Controlled standard.
But I have no points in sway, so I'm going to need some help.
It could be
or someone else can
also.
do it. I have no points in command either.
Okay, well. Okay, I will offer... Okay, I will offer you a devil's bargain, because it's like, interesting here. I think the devil's bargain is you probably still have some contacts from like your old military gang.
Yeah.
I think a thing that you could give him that he wants in exchange for this 8 coin is like, go over to this place, tell them Mushfiq sent you. And the reason this is a devil's bargain is it gets him entangled in your old military network, which might come back as a consequence later on.
In that case, can I say that it's a concert roll instead?
Yeah, I think so. If you're negotiating with him, like, give me your 8 coin and I will offer you safe haven and tell them Mushfiq sent you. Yeah.
Okay.
So consort with a devil's bargain of involving your past.
And he said this was controlled standard?
Yeah, I think it's controlled. Like, he can't do very much to you. He may be a badass, but he can't fight his way out through all 3 of you, especially not when he has no allies. So
it's a 6.
Okay. Yeah, and it's a 6 because of it. So he hesitates for a moment, and then he goes, you know what? I could use friends right now more than the money. I was planning on buying that anyway. Something about you tells me that name carries weight. All right. And he like repeats the instructions you gave him, which is probably back in Ketris, right? It's where your contacts are, the people who stayed. So.
All right.
All right. Yeah, let's not overcomplicate this or linger too long on the scene. He hands over the coin. He looks over at Clem, who, I mean, you know a little of, you know this guy by reputation, if nothing else. I don't know if you have anything to say to him.
Just a jerk of the head, like, go on, free to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not going to make a scene of this if you want.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, he takes off a money belt that he was carrying. And like, again, ordinarily I think this guy would be much harder to persuade, but he just saw you take down 2 eldritch beasts and knock out the leader of the smugglers. He's not stupid enough to pick a fight with you at this point. So yeah, all right. He loses 8 coin, but he is given a contact in a different city, which is as good a starting point as any. So there you go.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think we can be on our way now, right? Like, do we have any further business with these people?
No.
I mean, you need to. Yeah. What about Gerban and your?
Well, I think.
Yeah.
The plan is, as I understand, to load him up on a camel, take him back to the city, let the rest of the smugglers do what they want.
Okay. We can convince them that they'll get Gurvan back safely. Like, we just want to talk to him.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Let's not have any more rolls. If that's how you're spinning it, like, we just want to talk to him, you'll get him back safely. They probably assume that you have a bigger gang outside, because that would make sense. So, sure. I think you can just do this. And then I think whether or not you get this claim depends on what exactly you do with Gerban.
Yeah.
So it will be settled in the future. You may have some chance to strike a deal with him, but I think if you just like kill Gerban and ditch him in the desert, then his second in command will just take over the smuggling operation and be like, fuck you guys. And that will be that.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cool.
Well, I guess. Sorry, you're saying?
I think we can wrap the score here then.
All right. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a. No, sorry, you go.
So you go back to Uduasha with your camels. Probably, spend a little more time here to just recombobulate yourself, and then you head back. And probably, I guess you can even bring the hang gliders. You can just pull them down from the rock and bring them back. So
yeah,
perfect. Okay.
All right, very productive.
Fantastic.
Yes. So how I'm going to play this is payoff can either be 8 coin and a -1 with the Bone Shakers, because you screw them over, or 4 coin and a +1 with the Bone Shakers, because you helped them. It's up to you which one you want.
I'm down for a +1 with the Bone Shakers, because also that's a way to bring the Flatbread Uncles back into it, because
they're rivals,
enemies,
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And you already had a 1 with the Bone Shakers for the duel last time, since you did the whole big bet thing. So now you're at +2 with them. They really like you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, so everyone present mark a coin. I will toss one into the crew sheet as well. That's the 4th one.
Sweet, sweet money.
And then there is the matter of reputation, which I think, let's call Gerban's operation a tier 1 operation. It doesn't seem like a very sophisticated thing. It's about on par with yours. So I think you just get the 2 rep. But, we did give you a -1 die for the desert, so it seems fair to also give you an extra rep for the desert, just because it's the desert. So 3 rep in total.
That's good.
Yeah, counting the desert as being higher tier than you here. And then heat is not relevant because this took place outside of the city. So I think we're just skipping heat.
I'm happy with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I will roll an entanglement, and that's payoff. Because you did still meddle with a gang, so it's fair that there could be some sort of entanglement. We don't know how connected this guy is.
That's a 4.
It's a 4, which at 0 heat means rivals or unquiet dead. A rogue spirit or a neutral faction throws their weight around. I'll note that down. We'll resolve it next session. I'm not sure which one makes more sense. Okay.
Nice.
Excellent.
I think that's that for this session, and we are probably not in a position to play out downtime or indeed interviewing Gerban, because we're sort of running low on time. But we can save that for next session, I think. This was I had a great time. And
Me too.
yeah, so we are going to XP now and doing a little bit about the chat after the game. To most of our listeners, we say goodbye and thank you for listening. And to the people who are subscribed on Patreon, feel free to listen in on our conversations. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Here close the doors to the House of Endings. Those who dwell within are Zoheb, called Klow, Aadiyat, called Soap, Soumithri, called Tree, Salty, and Emma. I have been Prince, your host. Our city of Uduasha is based on Blades in the Dark by John Harper and Evil Hat Productions, with special thanks to Johnstone Metzger. Follow us on Twitter or support us on kofi.com/desperateattune. If you want to engage further with us, we also have a Patreon at patreon.com/desperateattune, where you will get our newsletter, extra content, and updates from Uduasha. The next time on Desperate Attune.
Seems that whatever happened to me was not so easy to shrug off as I thought.
Well, no. And you're not out of the woods yet, just because you're awake, I'll have you know. These things can still have serious consequences. If you feel any tingling in your limbs, they there may be necrosis, although I've already tested for that. There shouldn't be.
No, it's a nord injury. Nothing can be done about it now.